Hello everyone. A little disclaimer before I start. I'm going to talk about some sensitive topics, and I am very grateful for the previous volunteer who buttered up the floor for me to just crush some souls. So if you're going to find something very sensitive to you, just dissociate. And it works for me most of the time when I find myself in an uncomfortable situation. Or you can giggle uncomfortably, we don't discriminate the laughs. So yeah, I am from Belarus, which is a highly patriarchal state, and feminism, never heard of, sexual harassment, non-existent, gender, probably a fictional character from Lord of the Rings, and every woman is an employable baby-making machine, and every man is a god. And I am a highly conflicted biological woman. Let me make my case. My father was a sex addict, and you know, he had an itch which could only be scratched with a vagina. And he called my mother frigid. So those people came together and created a miracle of life, which stands in front of you. Who is obsessed with sex, but is scared of penetration. That's partially why I was a stripper, or as I call it, the safest form of sex. All sex, no penetration. And I do find a lot of features of my father in me. For example, I have this huge, phallic, big dick energy, which I want to give all the time, but I look down and there is no dick. There is just like a hole. And what do you do with the hole? You take the dick. You cannot give with the hole. And there is nothing sexy about like taking the dick. So that's like partially why I am inclined into liking blowjobs. Because blowjobs, you give. Oh, you give. And while you're giving it, you feel powerful. Because at the back of the head, you know that at the small clench of your jaw, you have like, you can change a whole man's life. Yeah, am I right? Yeah. You know, all this manlyhood in your mouth. The power. I am aware of my little obsession with dicks, and to your consolation, I am in therapy, so I'm working on it. But honestly, recently I've learned that like, if you look at anything, try to concentrate your attention at anything around the room, you kind of can imagine what it tastes like. And that goes back to the time when we were babies and we learned about the world by putting everything in our mouths. And that memory sticks with us for the rest of our lives, so we can imagine. Well, when I was a baby, I never had a dick in my mouth. Thanks God for that. But now I don't have this core memory, so every time I see a dick, I'm like wondering, you know, and I need to build that core memory again and again. So yeah, and sorry. Yeah. And when I meet people, I can't help but wonder, you know, what it looks like. Simply because with girls it's easier. You can kind of see the shape of the breasts and you can kind of imagine what it looks like. So I just don't understand why I cannot see the cleavage of the dick. It seems unfair. I just, you know, it's a curiosity, or as we call it, a sports interest. It's not like I want to ride every dick I see. It's not like that. It's just I know that you have this frontal tail, which I don't have, and it keeps me wondering, is it long? Is it hairy? Can it helicopter? You know, it's like, you know, I cannot help it. I mean, if I had a dick, I'd probably have like the greatest joy in life. And I would play sword fights with my guy friends because that's what I think they do when they hang out together. as my friend Rahul mentioned, it would be interesting to find out if it would be like Star Wars, like or more like Star Trek fight, like pew 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 pew. You know, it's like interesting in that. Because honestly, when I look at myself, I feel a bit castrated. It's like my dick was chopped off and I have an open wound which bleeds every month. And I can kind of temporarily fix it with a real dick by putting it in and adding some magic dick liquid. And then for 9 months you kind of fixed, but then you deliver the baby and you're back to your inertial trauma again. So yeah, when I moved to Lithuania 12 years ago, and I started working in a club, and I met my husband eventually. My Lithuanian colleagues were saying, "You bitch, stealing our Lithuanian men." And I would like to take this opportunity and apologize to Lithuanian girls and say, I'm sorry that I grew up to be a girl who offers a blowjob at any small inconvenience. Like, oh, you feel bad? Would a blowjob make you feel better? And I know it's not a healthy response, but it works. It works for men. And you know, we call it easy fix. You know, you cannot really fix men, and very few men are gonna admit that they need fixing or need help in general, but you can console them orally, I mean morally. Yeah, I love men. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they have this dangling particle they can play with. And you know, contrary to women, they have 2 operational brains which do not work simultaneously, which we can use to our advantage. So I can almost guarantee you, if you ask a man anything during the blowjob, chances are he's gonna agree to almost any conditions of that proposal. And like, it's simple biology, because the blood supply to the penis brain overweighs the blood supply to the head brain, so the logical thinking is compromised. And yeah, not only you have the whole manlyhood in your mouth, you can also build your future, you know, using this manly, how to say, not disadvantage, but you know, this manly weakness. And it's so potent and so powerful, I would recommend not to waste it on something small. Save it for like something big, and while you're on it, audio record it. Because when he recovers blood supply to the brain, he's gonna be like, no, I never said that, and you would be proof, you know, it really happened, so don't thank me for that. And I do understand that I might sound like a misogynistic wolf in this biological body of a female in a, you know, this sheep suit, but I need to remind you that I grew up Slavic, which means that I had to fight against very hard conditions of Orthodox patriarchy and find my power under repression. And apart from that, daddy issues run deep. And you need to understand that many men just so happen to enjoy the symptoms of this long-lasting mental illness. It's not me, you know. And if I didn't sell you on blowjobs yet, recently I found out that mouth is the dirtiest part of a whole body. So it kind of seems logical to me, who is a germaphobe, to put a dick in a mouth rather than to let it in the holy pure ground of the wonderful land we call vagina. I call it girl math. Also no pregnancies. So thank you and have a good evening.